against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Okay, guys. Welcome back to Anonymous Bites Back. A special episode right now. We'll have our normal episode at the regular time later tonight, or later today for some of you guys. But we have Niko House coming in soon. He's walking his dog right now. He'll be there soon. To discuss a number of different things. We never had him on before, but I am happy that he is with us. I'll further announce him when he actually jumps in, right? We're going to discuss the kind of dystopian situation we're getting ourselves into. That will be at least a part of the conversation, and I'm sure he has different things to talk about too. Well, it would be nice if you guys would help to share this around. That's what we depend on. Dealing with a lot of shadow banning and other messed up shit that is really annoying. So I depend on you guys to share it around and get us attention, because certainly tonight we're going to discuss some topics that are not really discussed anywhere else, and these are things which should be talked about, because we're not just discussing problems, we're also discussing solutions, and there's a little bit to thank you, Mad Mom, for sharing this around like a badass. I see you in all the chats already. I'm also sharing this around in the meantime as we prepare for our guest to come in. I'm expecting AK2. I'm not sure yet. He should be jumping in too as well. So as Mad Mom also says on Twitter, we are censored on our normal channel, the Anonymous Worldwide channel. So we are broadcasting this from Another Voice, which is our other YouTube account, which is actually more like a generic activist YouTube. I do run this together with my good friend Rico Brouwer, who's a Dutch journalist, and normally this channel is more like focused on anti-lockdown stuff and defending human rights in general. It does cover the Assange case a lot. But yeah, we're using this for ABB now to temporary until we can stream again on Anonymous Worldwide. I'm not sure how long this will take us. Usually because we have like one strike or something, that takes us like a month of waiting. So it's fine. We're used to it by now. So I guess you just can't say certain things. But we're even going easy in most cases. I want just real quick. I want to thank you guys for listening in. Anyway, I know this is not like the regular time, so many thanks for that. Just jumping in, or
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
All right, cool. I'm going to go put my food away in the refrigerator. I'll be right back.
Take your time. And Niko isn't here anyway yet, and they want to announce him and stuff. I haven't really asked him what he wants to discuss. I do know I'm going to be in his show tomorrow to discuss, the dystopian COVID stuff and the loss of our human rights. So I can already announce that for listeners that I will be.
No, I'd like to talk to him before we go live too. I just want to say about the suits.
We are live already.
Oh.
So people, if you heard that, forget about whatever we said.
Well, you did
never
not
happened.
tell me we were live. Whatever, man. Whatever.
I thought you would have seen the tweets I was doing.
I don't fucking check Twitter, man. Like, I'm busy as fuck.
Oh, yeah, you're always busy with the crypto stuff, right?
Busy with crypto, like, industry. Working in the crypto industry, man. It never sleeps. Neither do I, you know?
Yeah, it's like the new Wall Street.
Well, not really New Wall Street, but I did not realize that you were live there. But
I think I cut you
is.
off right in time. Okay, don't worry.
Not really. No. I already said some shit, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's pretty well known now, man. Like so.
Niko knows my opinion about things too. I already talked to him about it, but for now, we have to stick to like because he doesn't have much time, 1.5 hours, and we have to discuss whatever like is happening in our society, right? They're destroying everything. So, I mean, do what you have to do.
That's an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah, just do what you have to do, and then come jump back in. He will probably be here any second.
I mean, in general, I mean, you see that the economy is collapsing, right? Everybody sees that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right again. Oh man, it's almost like I want to be wrong, because then you know, if I was wrong, then all this bad stuff wouldn't be happening. But you know. Fortunately, I am cursed with being correct.
Yeah, you're usually correct.
Yeah, I know. Tell that to the people who smeared me years ago with various different things.
Oh, and actually, I actually watched stuff about like it is completely unrelated to what we're going to talk about. I actually watched stuff about like UFOs. It was like a Netflix thing, and
oh yeah, they're pushing heavy. They're pushing heavy on it. They're getting ready for a big disclosure thing again. I mean, the thing is, they keep doing it every couple months. I don't know if you realized it or not by now, but they keep doing it every couple months. They feed out something.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing I'm right about. I mean, I said last year that this year they would start ramping it up. Guess who was right?
Definitely.
I mean, not to be an egotistical prick or anything, but you know, I take value in what I put out there. I don't just put out something I don't fucking know. Oh, another thing too, and I know it's going to be an unpopular opinion, but Steve Bannon actually was on with Tim Pool, and he was discussing about the use of kinetic weaponry against China, and China using kinetic weaponry against us, which is direct energy weapons. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who sees it. I'm not. That's. I mean, Steve Bannon. Whatever you say, whatever you want about him, but I mean, he sees it too. I mean, he sees that the world powers are using silent weapons for silent wars, so to speak. There's a lot of advanced weaponry that they don't tell the people about. Years ago, I leaked a whole bunch of patents from Lockheed Martin and other big subcontractors. Oh man! If you guys can find that, you will be very shocked at the technology that they have and that they're developing, I should say.
What's up? What's going on?
Hey, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot I had to walk my pup. He's been here waiting for me to get home all day.
It needs to happen.
Man, it's hot.
Hey, so I was. Hey, so I was
Yeah.
already announcing you a bit, Niko House. I'm very happy you are with us. I can't hear myself though. But
Oh, give me a second. Let me turn the volume down.
Is that you or me?
It's me.
Oh, you got speakers. I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. Second, I got you. Booyah. How about now? How that sound?
probably.
Testing.
Way better.
Oh, it seems like we're good. Yeah. So, guys, I'm gonna go put my food away, and I'll be right back. You guys can start talking. I'll jump in.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah, so I'm very happy you're with us, Niko. We have some.
Thanks for inviting me. I wish I had saw your DM on Twitter sooner. I don't know how I got pushed so far back. I mean, but I guess y'all are anonymous, so I guess I can imagine how I got pushed. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually happy I'm not shadowbound this time, so yeah, we'll get some shares.
Every day I deal with that on multiple platforms, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, well, they pick specific dates for me. Like last year around the Assange trial thing, I was completely shadow banned, and when he was taken from the embassy, I was shadow banned 13 hours before that, and
Really?
yeah. I used to have a big Twitter account, but it's all completely deleted now. So I have like 10,000 people or something. But it always was shadow banned on these crucial moments. But hey,
Yeah, seriously, that's funny. You want to hear a crazy story?
Go ahead.
So, I actually announced. I told the team MCSC that the morning that I announced to them that I was going to be getting the show on RT, and like I was about to make the official announcement that day. Twitter actually banned, or they got rid of the fleet feature, right? Which for our team, because of just how active our people are, that was actually the number one way for us to promote shows and all that shit. And you also were able to share your fleets or your tweets into like Instagram. I bullshit you not. It was like 30 minutes after I told them in a Twitter DM, they just randomly announced they were getting rid of the fleets for no reason, to the point where a journalist reached out to them and were like, why are you getting rid of it? They're like, oh, well, it's just not doing what we thought it would do. And then there was a graph. They were like, no, y'all have made more money from ads directly due to fleets than you've, like, in the last, like, 4 or 5 months that you've had it, than you've made in the entirety of Twitter's existence. And they're like, well, it's just not, people aren't using it the way we wanted it to. They just got rid of it that morning. And then YouTube, when I was on Tulsa's campaign, found us in San Francisco at a Tulsi event to tell me that they were about to flip the algorithm on its head, and it was specifically because of me, because we were getting like hundreds of thousands of views a day, and growing exponentially in subscriber count, and it was because we were like, I mean, we're just being honest, just doing what the fuck we do. But the Kamala issue came up, and none of the white neo-progressives wanted to talk about it because they were worried about the optics. I didn't give a fuck about all that noise. I was just trying to tell the truth. And so everybody started flooding in. And so it's like, yeah, nope, because of that, YouTube's flipping the algorithm on its head. So, yeah, it's crazy how when you realize, like, oh, shit, like, big tech is actually watching Now, obviously for y'all, maybe not that big of a deal because y'all kind of know already. But that was kind of like a revelation. Go
Back
ahead.
in 2016, I'm thinking that I was one of the first accounts to be censored in such a heavy way, um, with the whole Hillary Clinton election and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My
I
account
can
was
imagine.
completely shadowed, man. Like completely shadowed. Nobody could like somebody tweeted at me. I wouldn't get the notification. They posted a tweet under my tweet. It wouldn't show my tweet. It was insane.
Wow.
Insane. Heavy
That's a
shadow
different type
ban.
of shadow ban shit. That's
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, but yeah, but now it seems completely normalized. We all get shadow bans. We don't even like.
don't even flinch.
Yeah, no, exactly. Hey, but I didn't even properly announce you. Probably should explain a bit about yourself and what you're doing.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Niko House. Primarily and initially, I was just an activist and an organizer, and I just happened to discover some cheating while I was working on Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016 because I was the state director until Aisha B took over. And I had a choice. I was going to either be quiet about it because a lot of people didn't want me to ruffle any feathers up, or I had the choice to, uphold my integrity and the expectation I had for myself, and also just recognize all the blood, sweat, and tears and money that people had put into that campaign, and recognize that if it's happening at that level, it was likely happening in other parts around the country that people may not have been aware of. So I decided to go ahead and tell the truth. Now, granted, I was actually on spring break whenever I found this out. Believe it or not, like I was still a senior at UNC, and I was like on a beach, like drinking a fucking pina colada, or Miami Vice actually. I was like, yo, now if I respond to these DMs, my life is literally not going to be the same after this. And so, because I was supposed to go to Harvard Law, and like I had a full ride to like basically anywhere else in the country, and I was like, yo, if I do this, that's it. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I knew I wasn't going to go down the same path that I was expecting to. So I took a sip of my Miami Vice, hit the blunt 3 times, and here we are. Had a radio show, out of it, and we started the DNC. I started the DNC fraud lawsuit with Elizabeth Lee Beck and Jared Beck. Unfortunately, got dismissed by the Supreme Court like a couple months ago by Clarence Thomas. I know, coincidence, right?
Now, who served the DNC? Sorry for interrupting you, but
who served? Oh man,
you remember the guy? You remember the guy that yeah,
Sean
right.
Lucas, man. Rest in peace to him, man. He committed suicide right before the DNC filed a motion to dismiss the case on the grounds that it was not properly served. When we went to go get an autopsy, Jared and Liz's attorneys tried to get one because obviously they were the attorneys that he had searched for. In addition to that, I actually had a private investigator try to get an autopsy. They wouldn't give him one. They wouldn't even give him an explanation as to why not. They claimed it was a drug overdose, but he was actually a super healthy guy. Didn't do drugs at all. And just started a new business too. Just got engaged as well.
Even if he did, I mean, that's just a hell of a coincidence that he suddenly has a drug overdose right after he serves the DNC that lawsuit, and around that same period of time, all that corruption was coming out on the DNC from WikiLeaks.
Yeah, and Seth Rich, obviously we'll never know for sure what that deal was, but
I know.
Seth Rich is actually going to be a key witness in the DNC fraud lawsuit. Like that was like first on our board was, oh, okay, cool, and then next thing you know, gone. And that was actually right before there's another major breakthrough in the case. Excuse me. So that was when. So it got filed, but right when we were about to announce it is whenever Seth Rich passes. So it's like it was all these weird coincidences going on. I mean, not for nothing, but like I got threatened. Jared and Liz got threatened by Debbie Wasserman Schultz's office. Their secretary got threatened over this DNC fraud lawsuit. So unfortunately, in politics, I've given up believing in coincidences. I'm just hoping that karma comes for those who may have facilitated the harm of anybody who was really just doing their job and trying to do the right thing. But yeah, it's like I said, I was kind of aware even then when I made the decision that like, yeah, I could be putting my life in danger. But like at a certain point,
Right.
man, like we gotta, like, how many people want to say, yeah, I don't want to put my life in danger. Yeah, I don't want to put myself to that. Yeah, I don't want to. That's the problem. Is so many people passed up the opportunity to just be to do something bigger than themselves, which is why we have to go through such drastic measures to cover down for the shit that should have been addressed if somebody fucking stood up and had some integrity years ago, right? So that was a decision I made, and the network, MCSC network that I started, are full of people who did the same thing, and that's how we came to be.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the reason why there's so much corruption is because nobody stands up to it. They just watch it happen, and then it just flourishes all over the place, and it goes from industry to industry and spreads throughout government.
Yeah, 100%. See, I mean, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the expose we did on CAA.
No.
Basically, the universe puts you in peculiar places for peculiar reasons, and you don't know until you know. So when I was working on Tulsi Gabbard's campaign, obviously I was like this. I was the center of a lot of hit pieces, Huffington Post, Daily Beast.
Yeah.
You know, I had news personalities coming after me, and I was like, "What the fuck? What did I do?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's a lead fundraiser for Tulsi." I was like, "Oh, so y'all upset because I'm really good at what I do?" Oh, that's weird. Why Tulsi though? Because you know Bernie was still doing his thing, and Bernie was coming under attack. But like, let's be honest, like it wasn't even a comparison. The kind of attacks, the difference in the kind of attacks that they were both experiencing. You know, Tulsi's was more like the attacks that Jill Stein may have experienced, it's rather than Bernie. So anyway, one of our guys, Robbie Yeager, happened to uncover something from WikiLeaks, or at least remember something from WikiLeaks that he had read in passing but didn't think much of it. I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Keeves, and basically the founder of CAA, the co-founders of CAA, and then one of them branched off and made UTA. They were in an email where they basically told Tulsi that they would no longer be fundraising for her, and as a matter of fact, they were going to quote unquote bring the hammer down on her. Now, out of context, you're like, oh, these are just two Hollywood guys doing Hollywood shit, okay, but then you realize that they were the founders of CAA, and then you start looking at the people who had primarily been attacking Tulsi, which were like the Anderson Cooper CAA, Anna Kasparian CAA UTA, Cenk Uygur CAA UTA, Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club, which is why he was kind of like, you know, doing the Teal Tom two-step on behalf of Kamala, CAA. I mean, the Rachel Maddow, Anna Navarro.
A lot of those attacks are just PR moves. It's just press releases that are put out. They're paid press releases, and you know they just spread throughout networks. And I guess CAA is one of those networks, right?
Oh no, CAA is the that's the network that's the agency that protected Harvey Weinstein, which is why Rose McGowan and that CAA, that one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
So now we're talking about the most powerful talent agency in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're directly influencing. So when you saw a lot of these celebrities out of nowhere, that even some that you wouldn't even have expected, coming out and supporting Joe Biden, when like I know for a fact, I know personally some of them that hated Joe Biden, but it's because CAA runs so much of Hollywood that they were terrified to do otherwise.
Oh yeah.
Joe Biden's actually signed a CAA, last I checked. So is Cory Booker. But so that lets you know that like there's clearly this crossover. And I think that it's been pretty obvious for like the last couple of years, more so than ever. There's this clear crossover where you're seeing marching orders being given from the politicians to CAA, and then they give those marching orders to the celebrities, and they'll say, if you want this next job, Alyssa Milano, you're gonna say, yeah, I know I was the one who was almost the face of Me Too, but we need you to use that clout, sacrifice your integrity, and rehabilitate Joe Biden's image if you want this show. And she was rewarded with one very shortly after that. Now, on the other side of that fence, if you're Rose McGowan and you stand up to fucking human trafficking, sexual assault, unequivocally so, then we'll make sure you never get to work in Hollywood again.
No, they don't want the cults. They don't want the cults and the child trafficking getting out of Hollywood. That's and there's several that we know about.
Well, we had
Nexium
Rose.
is not the only cult that is operating in Hollywood. There's other cults as well that are operating in Hollywood very openly too.
Well, we
Yeah,
had Rose
basically.
on our show, but for some reason that was like the only guest we ever had where they completely messed with the audio quality, and it was the worst quality show we ever had in regards to audio.
You know what's
So
crazy? I had a situation like that too, where we were talking. It was actually with this. I want to say No Restrictions. This guy who like founded No Restrictions ENT, and he did a movie about that shit. And that was the one show that I had back then. It was much more simpler setup, but it was like all of a sudden I had audio quality from his end. And he's like, I don't know, I've never had this before. I was like, I've never had it either. If it was an issue, usually from my end. But I mean, I've had shows where I bring people on the stream, and all of a sudden the stream has been working perfectly fine the entire day, and then
yeah, we have that with
starts
Terrence
hitting
too. I'm not sure if you know Terrence Daniels. He's very active on.
Terrence down. Yeah, I know Terrence.
Yeah, he's very active on Twitter. But okay, so what we used to have was like we were in this conversation before we started the show, right? And everything was fine. The quality was perfect. And then we started the show. We went live, and suddenly his quality went all messed up. Like,
Yep, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time with Torrance. Not only just Torrance, though. There's remember we had food. Who was it? The guy who created food not bombs.
Keith McHenry.
Yeah, we had him on, and his audio was getting screwed up, and he got kicked out of the mid conversation. I remember that. The thing is, like, the intelligence agencies, they do watch these types of shows, and they do actually interfere on some of the things that people discuss about. I mean, like, I was asking Keith McHenry, I was asking him about Promise Software, and then all of a sudden he got kicked off. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that is. It's not helping him though because we just.
I wouldn't be.
Go ahead.
There are times where we did a show about COINTELPRO, where with my friend Terry Baines, and he used to have a show with Susie Dawson back in the day, but or they collaborated on a radio show back in the day. But basically, the moment that we brought it up, like it was fine. We said COINTELPRO. All of a sudden, he was glitchy. It's coming, he didn't have the best signal, but his audio was always fine. So like maybe his face would be glitchy, but his audio was always. All of a sudden, he's getting booted. I don't. After what my friend told me about, like, for example, she was like, "You got to be careful." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "My consultant told me that she gave me a list of people that they were watching in the Beltway." I was like, it was like myself, Jimmy Dore, Convo Couch, Kim Iverson, a couple of others, and I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, what's the worst that could happen?" She was like, "No, they're watching you, like watching us to know what move they're going to make next." And I was like, "Hold up, for real?" And she was like, "No, I'm dead ass." They're fully aware of just how much independent media and independent thought leaders have influenced the culture.
Yeah,
and it's
they're scared of people with information. That's what it is. They're scared of people with information that can actually get out factual information or documents. And if you get a chance, look into what I wrote on Promise Software. It exposes the CIA and everything that they've done over the past couple years, and how the CIA set up BCCI Bank as a conduit bank.
It's in the Pakistan bank.
Yeah. Well, they set it up as smuggling guns and drugs for an black books programs kind of funding mechanism. And
I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
No, yeah. Well, this happened in the 1980s with Ronald Reagan and Vice President George H.W. Bush. And George H.W. Bush, from my sources, is the main person who is behind all this stuff.
Which makes sense.
So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, like it was considered to be that George H.W. was basically Reagan's handler.
Yep.
Right? Because Reagan was just he was a pretty face. He was literally a celebrity face that didn't know shit about shit. And all of a sudden, he's president when everybody thought it was going to be Bush. But they basically, I feel like a lot of people felt like Bush, H.W. Bush, like he was made vice president to run the show in a very similar fashion that Dick Cheney was made vice president to run
Bush.
W's.
Yep. You got it. Hit it right there on the nail with that.
Okay, but if you use simple logics, right? You mentioned the CAA thing. Like they use these celebrities and they force them to make certain PR moves in favor of them, right? And that is why they're also scared of these independent voices going against them, because they understand the power of media and new media and social media, and they understand how powerful it can be. And that's why I think that's why they're obsessed with independent broadcasters like ourselves.
Well, they can't buy independent broadcasters. They can't buy independent media. That's what scares them.
At least not all of them. I mean,
Well, yeah, there's probably some that are just paid off and work as a force against. What would that be? That would be COINTELPRO. Yeah, it would be COINTELPRO.
Yeah. TYT is like, TYT is literally. So I've had this theory for quite some time. That like the Young Turks was always a CIA pet project, and I would never say it because like that just sounded fucking far-fetched as hell. But I always have a feeling whenever some people move a certain way, the perfect execution and the timing of their rise and shit like that, and like okay, if they're truly independent media, what are the circumstances? Like what are the general circumstances that you would have to have go your way to be successful if you weren't TYT? Like and I think about like, okay, so when I said I'm going to be anti-establishment, what happened to me? I was kind of shut down. I was attacked. When Cenk left MSNBC because he was too anti-establishment, he went and got a shitload of rounds in a venture capitalism money to start TYT. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't make any sense. And then you just happen to be Turkish. And if anybody understands the dynamics of Turkey at the time, our relationship, the United States relationship with Turkey at the time, like there's speculation that we're the ones who funded the literal Young Turks that committed the Armenian genocide. There's speculation about that, but at the bare minimum, we did have a working relationship with Turkey, and that relationship is actually partially why they never joined the EU, because we didn't want to have to go to the EU whenever we needed to utilize them, and we needed them to stay kind of like quote unquote independent. So if Cenk is clearly a fucking narcissist who is more concerned about his brand than anything else, and someone approaches you with a few rounds of venture capitalism funding, and next thing you know, boom, blows up. But then he gets caught, denying the Armenian genocide, okay? And they manage to find the one Armenian who doesn't give a fuck about working for a show called The Young Turks.
Yeah, it's Anna Kasparian. Like, she is an Armenian.
Anna Kasparian. Exactly.
Well, the VCs, when you get involved with VCs, they start controlling things too.
Well, yeah, but that's a hard. But she came from mainstream media too. They bring her in, just to clearly soften up his image, and then she ends up on the Forbes 30 under 30.
Yeah.
Right. That's like that. That does not happen to truly anti-establishment independent media, especially on the left. You get silenced, you get attacked, you get censored. You don't get YouTube creator deals.
No, right. Impossible. No.
And then so the other day, I don't know if y'all saw this, but Cenk admitted, he said the CIA approached me. I told him no, of course, but like they approached me. He admitted it, and this is Cenk. I told him no, probably means he told him fuck yeah, right?
Of course. He's not going to say that.
They don't approach. That's the thing. They don't approach you. They give you a deal that you can't refuse, essentially.
And you don't find out they're CIA until later, right? I feel like that's what happened to Obama, right? When he probably didn't even realize how deep his parents and his grandparents were into the intel community until the birth certificate thing happened, right? He's like, "Mom, just give me my fucking birth certificate. Like, what's the issue?" Yeah, man, we can't, because the hospital doesn't exist anymore because it was a CIA front hospital. Because I was there learning fucking Russian, and that's how I met your dad. And his mom was probably a honeypot. Like, there's no coincidence that you fucking end up with two Kenyans, right? It's fucking weird. That were both in Hawaii learning Russian.
Yeah, that's interesting.
During that time, we were trying to, make sure that area stayed destabilized, and the best way to do it is to send little honeypots in there to figure out what's going on.
Okay, but so do you think TYT was approached by the CIA, or they were started from the
Yep.
start by the CIA?
I think that they were I think that the round of venture capitalism money from the very beginning was specifically, you know how InQtel does. They give the money to other venture capitalists, and then they invest in the company itself. And just like the artificial success of Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and others,
Elon
you see
Musk
this
too,
weird
I mean.
artificial success of TYT.
Yeah. Because with Elon Musk, it's also super obvious. I mean, he already worked
Elon
with Peter.
Musk.
Yeah, he worked with Peter Thiel already during like the PayPal mafia times, and then, yeah.
Failed businessmen all of a sudden becoming super billionaires. Failed businessmen, literally.
Yeah.
Like Amazon was a failed business. Like eBay was crushing them, and for good reason. Facebook was a failed business. They didn't even, for some reason, at one point, I remember with Zuckerberg, he's worth more now, but he's worth 80 billion. But it didn't make any sense because it wasn't a profitable fucking company.
Right, MySpace
MySpace
beating them at one point.
MySpace was beating the shit out of them, and Twitter came and beat it, and Twitter started beating the shit out of them.
But YouTube wasn't profitable either. It was sold for $3 billion, I think, to Google back then, and they never made a profit before that.
Yep.
And and Google is obviously
because it would be too.
Then they added
that
the
kind of
super
wasn't
chat.
their goal, right? At the time, it was very creator centric and creator friendly, and when people whenever the powers that be saw what it could be, and where the world was transitioning, they scooped it up. Now we're here. Same thing with Twitter. Twitter got bought by Saudi Arabian royal family in like 2015, 2016.
Yup.
And that's why you saw that massive transition into what.
And anytime you criticize the Saudis, you get yourself shadow banned. I've tested it. I've tested it. It is. Anytime you criticize the Saudis, like we were running a campaign. What was that campaign for the kid who is going to be beheaded? Mark, do you remember? Years ago.
I don't know. Now it just reminds me of that other fake trend we also stopped with the Iranian situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just if you say the wrong thing, you get shadow banned, and there's obviously people behind the scenes running that whole stuff, and that makes me always.
Oh, for sure.
Like since you discovered all that corruption going on in the United States politics, right? It's a few years ago, but a lot of stuff's changed now in society, right? And it's becoming like.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's, like I'm a very spiritual person, and I can't I don't know what everybody else believes in, but I definitely believe the universe has a very interesting way of putting you in the right place at the right time, because I just imagine like the DNC fraud lawsuit doesn't happen if I don't end up at UNC, and I don't end up at UNC if I don't go to the military and get stationed in Fort Bragg. Even though I was from Fayetteville, but I was originally supposed to get stationed in Korea, and shit got changed last minute. And then I was going to go special forces, and I ended up dislocating my shoulder, and I couldn't. And then while that process was going on, I found out I had asthma, so I got chaptered out. I medically retired. So I was like, whatever, shit, I'm still young. I might as well just go to university. And then that's kind of how all that stuff happened. And the only reason I even ended up in that position was because I did a debate all throughout high school. UNC had just joined the largest debate league in the country, APTA, which is like where fucking Cruz and all those guys, like that's where they used to debate at, because it was strictly Ivy League for a long time. So I ended up in there. That one of the executive, I think it was the secretary of the whole APTA debate league, was the one who invited me to be part of Bernie's campaign. And next thing you know, obviously things unfold. DNC fraud lawsuit. That's how I met, Tulsi. Tulsi introduced her legislation, her election integrity legislation, because of our conversation that we had that year. I ended up working with Tulsi. We coached and helped Tulsi with her opposition research during the debates. Boom, Kamala Harris isn't president. So sometimes people want the instant gratification of doing what's right because of what they think they might get for it right then and there. It doesn't work like that, though, right? As bad as things are, and things are not great right now, trust me, I'm sure like anybody who's watching right now knows that. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. And now we're at this weird little, I don't know what you want to go, I feel like we're at a crossroads where now people have the information. They even have the benefit of hindsight. And I said that it was different in 2016 because people still believed in the system even after Bernie lost. They're like, well, it's not like they can let him lose twice, like even though it's obvious. Then they watched. Then all the other, Bernie light candidates, quote unquote, came, and it was like the Tulsi's, Marianne Williamson. Everybody wanted to be Bernie. Well, Tulsi is different, but I would say, but even still, like that's what everybody's comparing him to. Even Elizabeth Warren, everybody wanted to talk that same talk. So they're like, well, if his policies are that popular, well, if he gets cheated this time, then what does that mean? Oh shit, it means your system is complete and total bullshit. And that's the left experiencing that. And then when the Trump supporters felt like he got cheated too, now the Trump supporters agree. And so now it's like we're having conversations with each other like, hold up, did you see this? Yeah, man, this shit happened to us in the primary. And now you're having conversations with people you otherwise wouldn't have been talking to. And even the other day, Trump was having a rally, and he showed very, very strong support of the vaccine initiatives. His fucking audience booed the fuck out of him. Booed the shit out of him. And I was like, and there it is. That's it. When people figure, because that was kind of like the last missing link was like the Trump supporters got to know like he's part of the controlled opposition also. Once they figure that shit out, it's over. And there's a reason that they ran up on Fred Hampton to make an example out of him, because they were worried that a circumstance where the left and the right and black people who may have had their own interests and then white people who may got their own interests, where they may have vehemently disagreed before, when they come together, their resources, their experiences in that network, it does revolutionary things.
Well, they try to divide us. They try to divide us with race. They try to divide us with the status of people, whether it's poor or rich.
Class,
class warfare, right? So I agree with you.
Class warfare it's scary, man. The class warfare is scary because they manipulate us in so many different ways, but then you end up with people who are like, well, no, everything is exclusively about class, and it's ironically enough, I would say it's like COVID, right? Everybody's like, man, you just gotta take the vaccine and that'll solve all your problems, which is like not the case, right? We know that.
Yeah, it's now admitted. It's now admitted that people who have the vaccine and people who don't have the vaccine have the same viral load in their bodies.
Well, there you go, and that's just like class and race, for example. If you're oppressed because of your class, if you're oppressed because of your race, you're still being oppressed. If you're oppressed because you're a woman, you're still being oppressed. We can't have people be like, that's not important. It's all about class. Always, it's just like a car, right? You can have the most beautiful fucking car. You can have a brand new Nissan GTR, fully souped up. Guess what? If the wheels ain't on the goddamn car, you're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how nice the car sounds when you turn it on. So my point is, it's class and race. It's class and gender. It's class and XYZ. Because in order to conquer that problem of classism, you also have to understand how they manipulate and use the other subcategories that they try to marginalize us into to create that class division. And that's where, so we have to have a little bit more empathy. And I think that now, I'm telling you, when I tell you I've had more MAGA people come out and defend me against racist shit than leftists for the last 2 years, which is fucking insane to think about. And 4 years ago, I wouldn't believe that shit at all. But now they're like, well, hold up, why are y'all talking to him like that? He's cool, like, because they really, when they say, oh, like, we don't see race or we accept you for you are, 98% of the time they're telling the truth. Now, that can be blinding in some instances for some issues, but they mean it when they say it. Because, when they disagree with you, they'll be quick to tell you as well. So whenever I have a liberal that come up to me and tell me he respects me, tell me he understands my struggle, tell me they want to fight for me, but really it's doublespeak. They mean the opposite of all that shit. It's just, virtue signaling. It's almost like virtue signaling and pretending to be anti-racist is like it signals to the liberal class that you're one of us.
Well, come and be in my opinion, like the whole MAGA thing or liberals or whatever term you want to use, right? That's another form of division because it's dividing people into political circles. And I've always said this, that like I don't understand how somebody can be of a political ideology and side with every single political point of the party, and say, "Oh yeah, I believe this. I believe this because I'm a Republican, or I believe this because I'm a Democrat, and I believe all of their party points." You know, like it's just ridiculous. People are individuals; they have different beliefs on different.
When I was at Politicon, a perfect example. So I met this couple. They both voted for Trump. They were very open about it. But they had seen. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they had overheard it, and they were like, "We just wanted to say how much we respect you." And I was like, "Oh, I appreciate it." And they were like, "Well, we voted for Trump, but we heard you say that you work for Tulsi. We loved her, and like we actually loved Bernie too. But when 2016 came around, it was time to make a vote. They said we had one single issue that we cared about. One. They were from Indiana, so you can guess what that was. It was NAFTA. Period. Point blank. End of story. NAFTA, TPP.
Yeah.
Who is going to stop NAFTA and TPP from destroying because they were telling me stories. One of their friends got addicted to opiates. Another one of their friends killed themselves. One of their kids' friends, like the stories that you hear trickle down because people just think it means, oh, money is lost. Nah, like when money is lost, marriages end, people become drug addicts, people end their lives because they don't know another way out. Retirement going up in smoke for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was the one. So that issue was the singular issue that they voted on. And then they proceeded to tell me a lot of criticisms about Trump that they had. So it's like, you're right. These people, nobody is a monolith. And to try to pretend like anyone is disingenuous at best. A lot of people do that, like you said, on purpose. They do it to divide you. Like that's the other team. No, we're on the same team. We're against the elite. That's it. Those are the enemies. Period. Point blank.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say to it. You're dealing with a tiny elite, and the only way it can stay in power is to constantly put the attention of one side of the country on the other side. Like you have to divide people constantly, because if all of us focus on this tiny little group, they're going to quickly be removed from power. It's that easy. If you have a million people literally looking to remove them from power, marching to Washington, they'll be gone in a day. It's like
everybody in the country obviously didn't support equal rights for black people during the civil rights movement. You don't need the whole country. You need maybe 5%. 5% of the loudest people you can find, and you could change the entire country with that 5%.
Of course.
Because the powerful start thinking about their PR, right? And then they always remember, like, somebody's willing to throw me under the bus to maintain their position. So then everybody tries to appease that 5%. Because that 5% is loud, that 5% is active, that 5% is organized, and they're unified. That 5% can determine the outcome of an election or have people pay attention to the outcome of that election. I feel like that's what we're seeing happening right now. Maybe everybody doesn't know what the fuck's going on with the election, but they do know that it didn't feel right. Even if they can't articulate the reasons why. They just know how things are supposed to go, and it didn't feel right. And because...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the DHS just recently put out a bulletin saying that if you discuss election rigging, you may be a terrorist.
Yep. Also, you can't... if you say anything negative about COVID or the COVID vaccine or some shit like that.
Right.
It was bizarre. I don't know what the fuck. Like, so what you going... Hey, so they gonna come out against the CDC because the CDC just came out and said, yeah, man, we just found out that you have the exact same viral load if you catch COVID with the vaccine or if you catch it without it. That was the CDC's words, not mine.
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, this thing is evolving so fast. It's, there's a chart I saw that shows how fast it's evolving, and it's evolving faster than the flu. And
it's because it was never meant the mRNA vaccines was. So first of all, let me just say something. There's a reason that they were willing to throw the Johnson & Johnson vaccine under the bus immediately, because that uses more traditional technology. Same with AstraZeneca. It's those vaccines were put together pretty quickly. They are very specific, like all vaccines in that, and especially in that category. But and there were adverse reactions to both of those vaccines, but not anywhere near as many as Pfizer and Moderna have had. And my father died from the Moderna vaccine. My grandfather, passed away less than 36 hours after taking the Moderna vaccine, and they wouldn't let my grandmother report it. They were saying it was a heart attack. She was like, no, he took the vaccine. Because they asked them, oh, you changed your diet, anything like that? She's like, or you changed your medicine? He's like, yeah, he took the vaccine yesterday. And they're like, no, it's not. That's not it. That can't be it. She's like, well, what else would it be? There's nothing else that's changed.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, too, about that, too. They have not done any human test on any of these. The tests don't run or don't finish until the 2022 and 2023. Yeah.
Yep. And so what you're seeing right now is almost like, I feel like they're in a rat race, because obviously Pfizer. So people don't know that Pfizer was the largest. They spent the most money lobbying over the last 10 years in Congress. They're basically getting rewarded for spending all that money effectively. And with this particular mRNA vaccine, you're beginning to see people come out and they're like, hold on. Well, if you're not trying to kill the virus, right? Because that's what they said. The mRNA technology, we actually interviewed the guy who invented the mRNA technology. Like, the technology is to mitigate symptoms, not to teach your blood cells, to your white blood cells to kill the virus. So now all you're doing is introducing the virus to a human body. The virus is observing all the ways that you would combat it, and then you're giving it to somebody else. And now that virus just went to fucking boot camp, is going to war now. Yeah, that's basically how you get the Delta variant. It didn't really get challenged either.
They're allowing it to evolve because it's able to breed inside the body and stay inside the body for a long period of time, and then when it spreads to the next person, it now has new attributes because it was inside another human body. And
there was data that showed that before anybody was talking about COVID, there was data that had already, like, peer-reviewed journals from 10, 20 years ago that talked about this, which was the primary reason why mRNA technology was never used for these type of viruses.
Okay, but so these development mistakes and these medical mistakes are one thing, right? But the real danger, I think, is when you're no longer allowed to criticize it, when you're no longer allowed to comment on it, because that defeats the scientific method, where you have this...
absolutely.
Steve said throw him a link.
Okay, I'll throw him a link. Steve, I'll throw you a link on Discord.
Absolutely what you said, and in addition to that, they're now having these requirements for passports, vaccine passports, and that's absolutely dangerous because now you're forcing people to get this, and you have no idea what the side effects are, long-term or short-term. None.
Yeah. And what's even crazier is that the CDC came out and said, yeah, so these vaccines don't really do shit for the Delta variant. And now studies have come out and said that's basically the dominant variant now. So it's like, that's really weird. So you're telling me that the dominant variant came about the moment that 60% supposedly of our population got vaccinated? That's really coincidental, huh? Don't you think? It's not. That's what happens to people wonder why you have to get another flu vaccine every year. It's because the flu mutates every single year, because you introduce it to a new vaccine every single year, and that's a quote unquote proper vaccine or proper inoculation, if you want to call it that. And so that's every single year. And actually, new studies have come out and said largely because of what we're talking about right now, which is you're teaching the flu or the virus how to fight. Now, getting the flu vaccine back to back increases the likelihood of you not only getting the flu, but getting the worst symptoms of the flu. They're finding that out now.
Yeah.
So now there's other research being found out that because they were dumb enough to open up this Pandora's box, in my opinion, they did it in a way that was very premature. So I feel like the powers that be are like rushing something. I don't know what's going on, but they seem like they're off balance. And they're making all these dumbass moves where they're kind of like exposing themselves. They're leaving themselves open for exposure. And eventually people's self-interest kick in.
Well,
like, Israel is out here like... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, they tried to tell us that the virus came from a pangolin at one point in time, and before they said that, they said it was from a wet food market, and you have all these documents, literally academic documents describing that how to create a virus in this lab. That's not a coincidence. Like,
now, AK.
And
Fauci I got to push back on that.
Brief all the world leaders. Was like, yeah, man, this thing looked like it came out of a lab, and it looked like it was made by humans. So
no, this is simple.
So my
science.
theory is, especially because of what happened, when I was like trying to like look at it from the most objective perspective I could. I'm like, well, hold on. Now I know that China lets the United States build this shit in their country.
Oh, they funded
it. Yeah, well, the United States funded it, but I'm saying, like, in order for that to happen, China would have to welcome that funding, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so now I'm like, okay, so why is China playing the blame game? And then also, the United States isn't fucking stupid. They know everybody's going to find a connection back to... They're like, bro, are China and the United States pretending to be enemies specifically so everyone wouldn't be suspicious of them working together? So that every time that China makes a move, we then have an opportunity to go make a move to counter them under the guise of China's, quote unquote, are defending against China's economic imperialism. And then, but when you really think about it, that would make sense because that's exactly what we did to Russia during the Cold War.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they were actually enemies. But every time Russia went somewhere or someone allied themselves with Russia, it gave us an excuse to go fuck them up and take over the country.
Is my mic working?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Very possible.
You look so worried,
okay.
Steve.
No, yeah, because it got knocked off the table. The dog got it. Anyway, what I wanted to say, though, is that we have scientific documentation, AK, that shows a pangolin fucked a bat.
Hello?
and that's how that happened. It was interspecies erotica, and now we have the Wu flu. And that's just science, and if you say it's not, you're a terrorist, literally. They're going to send you to that. They're going to send you to the quarantine camp in Australia. You saw that, right?
That's what. Yo, bro, that's fucking crazy, dog. Holy shit.
They went and fucking did it. They were like, FEMA camp, bitch.
Bro.
I saw that. I asked a friend of mine if that was real. I've been waiting for him to get back to me and tell me what the fuck is going on over there because I'm like, I know how crazy Australia was. Like, there was a fucking helicopter chasing people around telling them to get indoors.
Ripping kids away from their parents and shit.
Meanwhile, in France, motherfuckers are just getting off of work and kicking over trash cans just to remind the government we ain't playing that shit. Like, I know y'all ain't say shit today, but I'm just kicking over some shit just so y'all remember I ain't playing that shit. Like, that's... like, France is on some shit. I love it.
Well, they brought out the guillotines even. I mean...
In Australia, they use Australia as one of the first countries to test new laws. It's Canada and Australia are used against.
Becoming pretty abundantly clear that that's the case.
No, it is. Yeah. No, they use Australia and Canada because it's the closest countries that are closest to the U.S. Demographically for the economy and stuff like that, and law wise. So they use those two countries to run like test runs of new laws, and it's been known for years. And I mean, if they're doing what they're doing in Australia, and that starts happening in America, I mean, I don't think the Americans are going to put up with it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's different, man. Because like, at least like Australians have one thing to lose that Americans don't, which is they got healthcare, so they might be a little bit more plagued. You know, they might chill a little, like, man, shit, I do like my healthcare though. At least they got one thing, you know. And kangaroos, and like, you don't want to lose your pet kangaroo. I feel like that's like sad, man. Kangaroos are dope, but here we ain't got shit to lose anymore. What are you gonna do? Take your job away? They're already doing it. Take your school away? They're already doing it. Let you die without getting healthcare in the middle of a pandemic?
Raise your taxes, ridiculously. Taxes. I mean, yeah, you know, that's what they're doing with an infrastructure bill.
Kill your savings. Like, I mean,
take away your ability to make a living as a small business owner.
And your employees, thus your employees too. Like, the fuck else can they do? If they pull some shit like that, it would be, I mean, even right now, there are little pockets of people. Like in New York, there have been protests like the last 2 weeks and nobody's been covering.
Well, I had Teddy on last night. I had Tedros Fikra on last night, like direct from that big-ass City Hall rally in NYC yesterday.
Oh, he went?
Yeah, he went. He's on his way to APAC right now.
Oh, he all over the place. What's up?
Yeah. Dude, that guy's insane. But he said that there were, legit hundreds and hundreds of people out there in front of City Hall in New York City yesterday, and it was a union stand up against this mandate themed rally. So they had cops, firefighters, nurses, doctors, teachers, all
everybody, bro.
And everybody was out there repping their union.
You know, and they were like, "Oh, well, do you like Biden?" I'm like, "Man, fuck Biden." They were like, "Well, do you like Trump?" He's like, "Man, fuck Trump too." They were just like, people were tired. Like we've now had enough. And I told, we talked about this, Steve. We said, how many election cycles do you think it'll take somebody to catch up? And we were like, it's going to take at least 2 to 3, right? And right now we're basically on, I would say, coming up on the 3rd. But hell, we might be early because they fucked up. So we're kind of ahead of schedule. People are now, they're like, that partisan shit's done with. It's over. Most of the people you see arguing on Twitter are bots at this point. Like, they're not real serious people. They don't leave their fucking room. They don't go act. They're not active. They don't do shit. Like, it's people realizing it's us versus them.
Well, and because we've been in this period of acceleration, the downside for the empire on that is that everybody's on an accelerated learning curve too. So no matter how hard they push propaganda down our throats, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
An immediate.
Yeah.
Just wait for the deflation later this year. That's when things are really going to hit because the prices and things are going to rise like crazy. And
y'all better know some fucking gardeners and shit. Y'all better know some who's growing food locally around you. You better have that
I'm
on.
in Miami, so we're good. We got a lot of them. Well, Miami.
But yeah, it is, man. It's going to be crazy. It's set to happen in October. Nobody really realizes that it's even going to happen. Everybody thinks that it's going to be inflation, and it's deflation. We're going to go into
it's going to make it impossible to keep people hired.
Well, then that's
already happening.
That's the least of the worries, man. It's more so that we're going to go into like possible like Great Depression levels of economy.
Possible? Nah, yeah. It's happening. 20 million people about to be homeless. 20 million people. That's like triple.
I don't want to be the fearmonger here, but it's the truth. It's what's happening. I've been watching it. I used to subscribe to the narrative that we were going through inflation as well. And then I realized that it's not inflation, it's deflation that we're going to be going through.
They're doing inflation, but then they're going to deflate it's going to be like a sudden. I mean, if anybody's been paying attention to the interest rates, right? Basically, people's savings are worth nothing. They're worth what they like. What the fuck?
The dollar value is going up. The dollar value is going up as everything else is going to go down, including stocks. And
at least that's their plan. Their plan is to make the dollar value go up. But I do think that. So I actually have a theory about that too. So Steve, remember a year ago? I was like, yo, man, I don't know why. I feel like all this shit's rushed because of cryptocurrency for some reason. I said, I really can't explain to you why, but I feel like that might have been like a wild card that they weren't expecting, right?
Right. Well, the cypherpunks made Bitcoin.
Bitcoin specifically, right? And so I was like, do you think that shit's as big of a threat as like what I think it could be? And then next thing you know, you start seeing quietly, Congress is investigating different platforms who use Bitcoin as payment, and but they weren't making any headlines about it. They were just doing it behind the scenes. And then you start seeing Facebook try to create a coin, couldn't manipulate the market, so they got the fuck out of it. And they weren't the only ones who tried to do it.
No, they're still going to do it.
They're still trying, but they got out temporarily, though. They did get out.
No. It's just a headline the other day.
Did they come out with something else?
Libra was the original project, and the reason why they stopped it was because it was supposed to be a currency backed by a whole bunch of basket of currencies, and the governments of the world told them that they couldn't do that.
Yep.
So they switched their model to Diem, and it's just going to be a stable coin that is on their platform, and it's only going to be
that isn't. You can't manipulate the market that way. What their original intention was to manipulate the market by they're like, because what makes Bitcoin? the fact that every single currency available backs it without even an ask for that to happen, right? People are volunteering their euros, their yen, their pesos, whatever, their dollars. And so Bezos tried to do the same shit with Libra, right? You get all the currencies to back it artificially, and they were like, no, you fucking no. Because that, in their mind, like, bitch, we're not about to give the United States more power than they already have. We know who the fuck you're controlled by. We're not idiots, right? And so that killed his whole dream. And yeah, he can make a stable coin, like, but who the fuck cares? And so now you can't make any of this shit happen the way you want it to without the Fed being the main distributor of money, interest rates, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
and
that's
now,
what they're doing. Yeah.
And now, because of Bitcoin, they don't fucking know who's a billionaire right now. They have no idea. Zero. None. Nor do they need to know. So every time they can't even make the proper moves because they don't know who's going to counter that move with an initiative that is funded by Bitcoin money. But I've already seen a couple unfold just over the last several months, and it's constantly happening. Like Nigeria, right? They said, what if you don't get the vaccine, then they're going to let you bank? But does it fucking matter? Because guess what? Everybody in Nigeria is using goddamn Bitcoin now. Fuck your bank. We don't care.
Well, before that, they were using cell phone minutes. They would sell cell phone minute cards for goods and services.
That's hood as fuck.
That's
awesome.
Well, that's because the Nigerian currency is so volatile. I mean, its value doesn't hold, so it works better for them to use cell phone minutes. They buy the cell phone cards and then trade them.
We keep it that way. We keep it that way. Like same reason. Like everybody. I don't understand why Brazil always so fucking unstable economically. Yeah, because we keep them that way. Brazil would be our biggest competition. What do you mean? Of course, they're like the United States, similar demographics, but nice weather 24/7.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Might be unrelated or might be related, because at the same time when people are buying cryptocurrencies, you see the price of gold and silver going down a bit, but behind the scenes, countries like Russia, China, Kazakhstan, they are buying massive amounts of gold. Massive amounts. Well, the price is low.
Huge, yeah.
Well, Palantir just bought. What was it? What was it?
Yeah, they started buying gold too, right?
3 billion.
It was like,
3 billion?
Yeah, it was a huge number.
Yeah, no. If you're not like, I told my mom, and this isn't financial advice to anybody. Don't take it as such. But I told my mom and my close family members, I was like, look, fucking cash out your 401k. Take the hit, because obviously if you cash it out early, you take the hit. I'm like, take the fucking hit. I was like, you buy gold, buy Bitcoin. And they're like, well, what happens? I'm like, no, you don't want to find out what happens is, because my mom's at that age, she's 52. When these crashes happen, they tend to hurt for a long time. You don't want to give up. Exactly.
It's gonna wipe it out completely. Yeah.
And she won't be able to, she doesn't have the kind of income that would help her bounce back or take advantage of the low, no. My mom was a working class single mother for her entire life. And I'm like, if you want that money to be safe, put it somewhere where it's safe. Gold being one of those places. Gold is always going to be here. And Bitcoin. And that's something that if anybody, that's something I would consider if I was anybody around that age, where you've had your savings and your retirement, your 401k, the stock market in one form or another influencing those things. Bro, the stock market is fucking fake. Stop putting your money there. That's one thing that we learned. Like at one point the stocks went up during the pandemic. You're like, well, bitch, hold up. Ain't nobody working. Who is causing the stocks to go up?
Well, that's because Wall Street and Main Street are separate. They're separate, and their minds are very much different.
But it didn't matter because the people made money off those stocks.
Yeah, yeah. It pumped the stock market crazy, and it went into a parabolic move. And we've been in this parabolic move with the stock market for several years. And I mean, it's time for it to come down, and it's going to come down bad, man. It's not going to be pretty.
Yep. And when the stock market drops, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the time, Bitcoin goes up.
Yeah, because they jump on. Yeah, that's the thing to jump into when it goes down. Well, we discussed it before on our show. To like the real economy has very little to do with the financial economy, right? Like AK also says, it's separated. Like the real economy is the people who are producing like food, right? And they're delivering food, and they want something in return for that food. And it really doesn't matter what currency is used for that, as long as it is trusted by these people and they know they can get something in return for it.
Exactly what it comes down to: exchange of goods for something, for a currency, whatever that currency may be that you trust and that you find useful.
And you're starting
how the stock market works.
You're starting to see too. You're starting to see all these big businesses are entering into crypto. Like I foretold this. I told everybody this was going to happen. I said they're all about to just pile into crypto.
After talking cash money shit the whole time, right? They were, that shit's fake. It's not real. They're like, yo, man, you say it's blockchain, right? Those two separate words are together. Okay, Bitcoin. How do you? And literally smearing the fuck out of it. Wall Street Journal, all these different economists, how fake it was, while simultaneously trying to build blockchain technology behind the scenes, because they knew it was real. That's how I knew it was real. Don't forget.
I was just gonna say, don't forget the biggest name of all, and I mean that was Warren Buffett. You know, I remember him calling it fucking rat poison.
Yep. When I saw that, I saw Wall Street Journal do a smear piece, I saw economists do a smear piece. I said, oh, I'm about to go buy me some fucking Bitcoin. Because if they all think it's garbage, what the fuck would Warren Buffett tell me that Bitcoin's a great investment? Unless he already had all the money in it. You know what I'm saying? So he can make more money. Warren Buffett, Wall Street Journal, they're like, yeah, that's a signal to the elite, because they know how the game actually works. That's a signal to the elite. Hey, man, I might need to start going ahead and putting some of y'all money into that shit. And it's also, unfortunately, a signal that works in the opposite way to maybe some of the poor, working class, middle-aged people who are a little bit used to more traditional means of saving. And they're like, well, if all of them are saying that, maybe we shouldn't. But luckily, their kids, like, they put them on. Like, my mom buys Bitcoin now.
At the same time, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, at the same time, when they were trashing Bitcoin, a group known as Digital Currency Group was starting to back all these various different blockchain projects. And Digital Currency Group is actually has a lot of people linked into the government. There's one advisor that's on DCG that is linked into the Fed Reserve.
I'm not surprised.
So at the same time they were trashing Bitcoin, there was a group of people that were also connected into the NASDAQ. The guy known as Barry Silbert, he founded DCG, and before that he ran a trading on NASDAQ. It was oh man, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right, because it's illegal. It's actually illegal to trade Bitcoin in New York because of the, obviously, we don't want the Wall Street people making deals based off of Bitcoin. But like in reality, the people, like you said, the people who are the big in charge of some of the most speculative companies that bring in the most money, all of a sudden they're being put in charge of blockchain products that are supposed to be illegitimate.
Well, they were funding them. Yeah, they were funding them billions and billions of dollars, just pouring money into these projects. Yeah, right.
Yeah, rules for you, not for me. Was it not for? It's rules for thee and not for me. Is that how it goes? Yeah.
Well, the New York rule that you're actually talking about, it has to do with not allowing people to trade on dexes in New York. So you can still trade, but you can't trade on dexes. So you could trade on a centralized exchange that is licensed in New York, because what they do in New York is they require the cryptocurrency companies to get a license to operate in their state, right?
So they could be like a financial broker type shit.
Right. That's what they've been setting it up for all this time. Yeah.
But exactly. But once again, if you're smart, why the fuck do I need to do that? Right? Because guess what, everybody? I mean, I'm not telling you to do anything that's illegal or get you in trouble, but VPNs do work. I'm just sitting, just letting y'all know.
Exactly.
And I would know because I definitely use one. Because I was actually trying to do something Florida wasn't a state yet at that time that was like allowed to trade on that platform. So I just used a VPN, and I used my friend's address because my friend lived in North Carolina or some shit like that, and I just used his address and used a VPN. Boom. And of course they're not stupid because they understand how arbitrary those fucking laws are and what the real reason that they create them. But like, those are the exchange platforms. But yeah, I really believe that Bitcoin really is having a profound impact on just how quickly the establishment or the elites feel like they have to move because they're slowly losing control of their centralized currency or the control that centralized currency has given them so far.
Well, that's what it was designed to do. It's exactly what it was designed to do. That's what the cypherpunks wanted. They wanted to take away power from the government's control over money and allow people to have they basically be their own banks. I mean, everybody says Satoshi Nakamoto, but Satoshi Nakamoto is really just a moniker for everybody who was involved in the cypherpunks. It was a group project. Bitcoin was a group project. Really? That's why they always say we are all Satoshi. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
Yeah.
The cypherpunks.
It's a form of financial anarchism, I guess. It is an alternative economies, and it is just it's ran by
except
users.
For it's a surveillance coin.
What,
yeah.
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
And what do you mean?
I mean, you can track it.
Oh yeah, you can track it.
Well, it's a surveillance coin. You can tell who's using it and where it's going.
Well, yeah, but
there's no
anonymity. It's not a privacy coin.
No, every transaction is monitored. That's true. Every transaction is visible.
that I do know, but also depending on like how you buy. Like, so for example, if you bought something from Coinbase, like, good luck, you're gonna probably be tracked. But on other platforms and other exchanges, you're just given an address, like a wallet address, and then you transfer that shit to 18 different wallet addresses. Yeah, they can track where it's going. They can maybe track address, and they might be able to get back to the original person, but then they're gonna figure out who the fourth person is.
Yeah. There is a question about that in the chat. There is a question. Someone is asking, what crypto exchange should be used for no KYC?
There's none now. There's none that are besides DEXs. There's DEXs that are on Ethereum, but that's it. There's no KYC. Everything is KYC now. I mean, we knew that was coming as this got popular. I mean, they're not going to allow people to be able to funnel millions of dollars. Bittrex is operating in the U.S. I mean, they require.
Oh, they operate in the U.S. now?
Yeah, it was always a U.S. company.
And what about Prime XBT?
I thought they were overseas, and then they recently like made a U.S. version. I didn't know they were operating.
Bittrex was always a U.S. company.
Got you. Okay.
Hey, but AK, I've never had to use any information at Prime XBT. Just saying.
But that's not an exchange though. That's
no, not really. I mean, but it's just like
it's a derivatives. That's a derivative trading. But I could tell you that I just talked to Prime XBT, and they're going to start doing KYC as well because Bybit, one of the leading exchanges for derivative trading, is now requiring KYC for any more than 2 BTC withdrawals on their
KYC being what?
KYC being an ID, your address, and your name. Right, yeah.
So luckily I haven't had, I guess because I created my accounts so early on, I haven't actually had to use my address for any wallet except for maybe one. And that might have been just Coinbase.
Yeah, that's going to change. Like, I work heavily in the cryptocurrency industry. Everybody knows it about me. I am networked like crazy, and they've been discussing all these different KYC measures and everything within crypto.
Kind of try to keep the government off their ass.
Yeah, right. Because the FATF, what is it called? The Financial Assessment. No, that's not it. Financial. Let me Google it. I can't remember what the hell they're called. It has something to do with travel. It has something to do with travel restrictions and terrorism. I just can't remember what it is. But that group, FATF. All right. The Financial Action Task Force. That's what it is. So the FATF, which is under the U.S. Treasury, right? They are requiring exchanges to be able to track for AML and or CFT, which is counterterrorism. CFT is counter financial terrorism. So they're requiring exchanges to make sure that they're not funding terrorism and make sure that they're not allowing money laundering. And Binance, for the longest period of time, has allowed money laundering and various different individuals on their website.
Well, that's right. Like, I mean, shit.
well, here's the thing. A lot of scammers have been using it, too, for years, and they don't shut down their accounts. I know because I've tried to get accounts shut down on Binance for scammers. A lot of scammers. But, yeah, so they require you to... So Binance requires you to have a warrant. Okay, that's one thing, right? But even after you have the warrant, it's almost like they fight for the scammer. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I think it's because they don't want there to be that, that how shit rolls downhill, right? Oh, like if you make it, if you can hold people accountable and expose that particular person, then like it can happen to anybody, and that's what they're trying to prevent more than anything else. But at the same time, hold up. So what happens when exchanges start just basing themselves out of other countries as these other So in Nicaragua, is that where they made it the primary currency, or is it Guatemala?
No, that was El Salvador.
El Salvador.
There you go. So what happens when El Salvador creates their own and they don't require any address? What is it do then?
So these orders are basically coming from the BIZ, which is the Bank of International Settlements, and also various other central banks that are basically they met in.
But El Salvador is like they're trying to distance themselves from the central bank. So that's why I'm trying to figure out like what if they threaten their money? Like they can't.
Well, yeah, that was what the IMF did. You remember? Did you see that? Did you see
recall. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why they did what they did.
Right.
Which is smart,
I hate to interrupt, gentlemen, but I gotta show you guys this. I just picked this up today. A really cool spot in Denver. It's like an oddities and curiosities store.
The fuck.
What?
How elegant.
Oh my god, man.
That is a shellacked turkey's foot up like a middle finger, and it's nicely engraved and says "fuck you."
How are you? You must have drove to Colorado. How the fuck are you gonna fly that back?
I'm gonna figure that out, or I'm gonna ship it.
I haven't thought that far in life. I just know when you see a fucking slack turkey foot flipping you off, you buy it.
Hey, look, the heart wants what the heart wants, Niko.
What if the foot breaks off and shipping?
Well, I'm gonna pack it with like a bunch of clothes and shit like that, dude. And I've become conversational with the owners of the shop, and Kendra's here, and if there's a problem, we can figure it out. So
nice.
Yeah. But that thing's fucking cool. I also got this fantastic sticker.
What does it say?
Ted's Tiny Homes.
Oh, the fuck? Man, all right, fucking hot topic visit, Steve. But I gotta get out of here soon. I have another engagement at 7.
Yeah, no, I got a split too. I have a show at 7 on the East Coast.
So, but I greatly appreciate you guys having me on. Like I said, man, we're gonna get y'all on the show because, Steve's always on, but definitely want to get you guys on too because y'all got a lot of information and people need to hear that shit. For real. Yeah. I appreciate you guys bringing me on.
So appreciate you coming on, and it's been a wild discussion going from topic to topic.
Yeah, we just didn't have enough time, I guess. But Niko, just mention real quick how people can find you, right?
You can find me on Twitter at Niko NIKOCSFB. You can also find me on Rockfin, of course, just at Niko. You can find me on Facebook, I guess. Definitely on YouTube. I'm trying to.
Yeah, we gotta get you to delete that last one.
That's
not the last one. The one before that.
You can't find me on Facebook.
I know, you can barely find me on Facebook. You can also find me on RT. Yeah, I'm on RT now. That's been fun. But yeah, other than that, I'm on TikTok too. I guess if you want to just see some 2-minute shit talking, like, just look up Niko House. But yeah, man, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'd definitely love to do it again.
Yeah, because we didn't really have enough time to discuss all the important stuff, so we'll have to do it again, definitely.
Man, that's like a 4-day conversation, though.
Yeah.
You say we have another show later tonight, Nico. You can hop in for that too.
Yeah.
I might do that. Well, y'all just be fucking live streaming all day and night anyway. Shit.
Well, no, we do our weekly Thursday stream. Weekly Thursday stream for Anonymous Bites Back, and it's from like 9 o'clock Eastern to probably like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Well, it's in 3.5 hours. I mean, you can always jump on, definitely.
Yeah, so you can jump on whenever
short shows.
you want.
You guys, y'all need some fucking, y'all need some sleep and maybe a social life, man. I don't know, maybe both. 3 hours?
I don't have a social life. I just work. That's it.
I'm going to see Big J Okerson at Comedy Works tomorrow. I don't know if y'all are. I'm gonna go watch fucking stand up.
So Steve finally found a social life. Okay, that's good. That's good. Get a haircut and get a social life. That was quick, man. Shit, you done act brand new on this already.
Man, I've been busy.
Hey, I know. All right, guys, appreciate you.
Hell yeah.
All right, take it easy, man.
Ted's Tiny Homes.
Oh my god! I just realized that you can use that against Ted.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Normally it's me that gets all the Unabomber comparisons, but
Well, you did, man, last time with it.
But right before I got my haircut, you guys, like, I had sunglasses on and I had a hood up, and I like caught a glimpse of me in the mirror, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see it now.
It's good to see it.
Yeah, shit. All
right.
right.
You did look like him, like with the sunglasses and everything. Yeah, definitely.
Not intentional. I'm not even a fan of the post office.
You also weren't a MK Ultra subject. So
very true. Nor was I ever allowed anywhere near Harvard. So another strike against me there. The chick that co-owns the curio shop where I got the turkey foot thing told me about a T-shirt that she had that I want now, and it's a picture of Ted, and all it says on it is "vote by mail."
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah,
yes,
see
sir.
that hearing something like that outside can get you in a lot of trouble,
bro. I mean, I think she felt like she was among friends. It wasn't a lot, you know. But, bro, that's hysterical. It is. Learned Lemur in Denver, Colorado. Go find it. It's cool shit. Gentlemen, I gotta bounce too. I've got a show coming up here in like half an hour with Kriston T. Harris from the Rundown Live. Jared Beck's going to be back on the show this weekend. That'll be awesome. Richard Gage is coming back the week before 9/11. Scott Horton, founder of the Libertarian Institute and Anti-War Magazine, he'll be on next week.
Yeah, you should probably come back also like Monday or whatever. We have Deepa coming in, if I'm correct. I know because you missed it last time, and this might be a way to fix that, right?
Depending on what time it is, yeah, I try fly back on Monday.
Okay.
But if I'm not in an airplane, I'll do ABB from the airport. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really. You can do it from anywhere. Like, fuck off.
Well,
that'd be funny as hell, sitting in a fucking terminal doing Anonymous Bites Back, fucking make it through the TSA checkpoint to get on this show.
Yeah. I don't know.
Speaking of, you guys see the FBI terror list just ended up online? I know nothing about that. Just saying, FBI. I know nothing about that. No need to come to me. I know nothing about that.
I saw where that had happened. I haven't been able to take a look yet, though.
Yeah, all their Terror Watch list names got leaked online. That was pretty.
I'm
epic.
very interested in looking at that. So if anyone has a copy, please email it to me at sndshow@protonmail.com.
Well, I mean, I have it, but yeah.
I was trying to plausible deniability, AK.
I don't need plausible deniability. It's a fucking line. There's a document online. I mean,
that's true.
It is what it is, man. Like I didn't.
We'll drop that in.
I've been too busy.
DM that to me. We'll fucking keyword search it on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have Tyler also jumping on tonight. He's been having some issues, but he'll be able to make it tonight. So
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Is he gonna look like Vincent D'Onofrio's character in Men in Black?
If we're lucky, if he's lucky.
All them shots, jabby jabs.
Yeah, I'm sorry just to tell him that too, but yeah.
All right, well, fellas, always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm gonna get a couple of more things in order before I do the show, and then I'll see you guys in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. See you in a couple of hours. What is it now?
3.5 hours exactly.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say 4, but all right.
All right. Well, stay black, everybody.
That's an interesting way to leave. All right. I guess I'll do our anonymous PSA, and then we can close this up, eh?
Yeah, just do it.
All right. So, everyone, remember to spay and neuter all your politicians, your lobbyists, your royalty, your independent contractors, and who the fuck am I forgetting? Forgetting somebody.
Just the elite bankers.
Oh, bankers. All right, yeah, bankers, them too. Yeah.
Globalist, fascists, whatever. Just get rid of them all.
Just spay and neuter them, so that way we can have a more successful future. You know.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's good enough.
Yeah, you're not going to sing, right?
I don't know what exactly you would like me to sing. I mean, do you want me to sing you a lullaby, Mark? I mean, I can attempt
no,
it.
No. I know Gloria and Tad usually sing that intro song.
I don't know what the fuck they sing. I have no idea, man. But no, you ain't catching me singing anything.
I don't have this luxury. I don't do these luxury streams like Tyler does with the whole like fancy outro song. So yeah, just cut them off. I'm actually going to cut it off right now. But
Good, buddy.
guys, please, girls, please share this around. That's what we depend on. Thanks.
Humans, please share around. Thanks.